Cheers, y'all. What's up, Craig? Already here. Popped up right on time. Happy Thursday. How has everybody's week been? Tia is officially going to the CrossFit Games. Who here is surprised? I'm not entirely surprised, but I think it's good. I think it's good for the sport. I think it's good for the community, the ecosystem. I think it's a good way to potentially merge some High Rocks fans who might be a fan of her from High Rocks into CrossFit. And why not just compete until the wheels fall off or until you think that you have a serious chance of not winning? So I know that's the talk of the town right now. Craig, good week so far. Good to hear it. And I know that Dallin Hopper, just intermixing them. Dallin Pepper and Jason Hopper have their games countdown. I haven't seen exactly how many days. Let's see if today's the 26th. What's the 26th? So we got exactly a month and a week. 5 weeks out till the CrossFit Games. Until I take Bryce the Bronco to Albany, New York. I have been put on a mission. If anybody's watching and you're from the Albany area, one of my missions right now is I need to find the best local coffee shop to get the day started. And especially the European athletes, if you've ever been to Europe, you know that they have some of the best coffee. So then when they come to the States and drink, I'm not going to name any specific brands, but the big chains that just ain't doing it for them. So I am on a mission to find a good local coffee shop. I don't know if I need to go and actually venture out to taste test if I'm going to give my recommendation to people. I normally like to have actual experience versus just, looking at the internet and seeing what reviews are. But, I'm going to do some deep dives. We'll see what we can get. I also want to find just, some good local food while I'm out there. I mean, the chicken quesadilla that I had back in the day when I would compete in dance competitions in Albany was definitely good, but we'll see what else we can get out there. But yeah, exciting stuff. I have some fun things in the works for the games. If you are going to be in, Jeremy, he loves the coffee. Yeah, man. How do you drink your coffee? How's everybody drink their coffee? I guess there's 3 options here. Kind of 3. We'll put them into categories. Typically, every day I will, because it's the easiest for me to make, an iced Americano. That is 9 times out of 10 my go-to. I just want to taste the coffee, give me that dark flavor in my cup. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if it's negative 25 degrees out. I want it cold. I do not like hot drinks. I don't even really like soup, and I think it's because it's warm and that's just not my journey. But so that's one thing. I have made cold brew at home. I need to do that more because I love cold brew too. Cold brew? Ooh, nitro brew. Love those if, a local place has a good nitro brew. Unfortunately, I can't make that at home, so at least not yet. Not yet. One day maybe I'll have the machine to make my nitro brew. But yeah, so normally just black coffee or some kind of dark roast where I can really taste the hints of whatever the bean is. And then if I just need something that, I've already had the dark coffee for the day and I'm like, I need a little bit of a sweetness. I need a little bit of pick me up for my soul in the afternoon. And I don't really want the caffeine. So instead, we're just going to go for the calories. Lately, that pick me up, and normally I don't do it at home. I just do it when I'm on the road at an event. If there's, a local coffee truck or something, I'm thinking specifically of tactical games. We'll either do a dirty chai latte. Ooh, warms my soul. Makes me think of Christmas, even though we're not close to that. Or a honey vanilla lavender latte. Ooh, wow. Wow. Whoever thought of putting those flavors together as a combination, they were onto something. They were onto something. So that's where I go when I think of coffee. I try to explain, to me, coffee is the same way that whiskey connoisseurs take their whiskey. If they want to go on a whiskey tasting journey, I want to go on a coffee tasting journey. If anybody knows of a place where I can, taste test different coffee and make it an experience, let me know. Even if it's not around here, even if it's not in the country, I will travel and plan a trip around that. Speaking of trips, well, I know that this thing is titled the trip I'm going on, but we'll leave that as a little cliffhanger. We'll let a couple more folks roll in and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, on a different trip, I'm going to Poland for tactical games. When is it? September, maybe? Yes, the end of September. And I need some recommendations because I'm going to take, about a week to a week and a half to travel and explore. Obviously, I will spend some time in Poland, but if there's any places close by that people think I should go to, let me know. Send me some itinerary ideas to get that rolling. And that should be fun. And I'm hoping to also go to the Rogue Invitational in Scotland. So that should be fun. And then also hopefully going to World Fitness Project finals in Copenhagen around Christmas time. That'll be a lot of fun because all the Christmas markets will be set up, the Christmas trees, the lights. And I mean, I feel like you go anywhere around Christmas time and it's gorgeous. Originally, I was thinking, oh, yeah, just when you go abroad. But I mean, if you go anywhere here, especially like New York City, I feel like California probably does something big. In Florida, it doesn't feel like Christmas, but they still do a lot of lights and decorations and set things up. So anywhere around Christmas time is always quite magical. But it's a lot of fun. Stay away from Iran. Well, Jeremy, thank you for the tip. You're giving me so many tips today, from sliding into the DMs and making me aware of some things to letting me know where not to visit. You're just full of helpful, useful knowledge to go about my day. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you batting for the home team, my guy. You know what I mean? Good times. Good times. I am back on the rugby front this weekend. It is the Legacy Cup, so essentially the finals for the league. They had put the broadcast on hold for a couple weeks. That's why I haven't done it in, it seems like a while. It's probably been a little bit over a month. But then they're bringing the broadcast back for the finals, so that'll be really good. And then from there, I'm headed on another trip that we'll talk about in a bit. And other than that, a lot of tactical game stuff has been going on. You got it. You got it. Jeremy, I feel like you're somebody who would sign up for tactical games. Why haven't you competed yet? Marco, I always butcher his last name unless I look at it. I want to say it's one thing, so I'm gonna go on his Instagram before. Kopala. Team games athlete. He has thrown his hat in the ring in tactical games and he officially qualified for nationals. So that's going to be really exciting. I love to see, the crossover of the two sports. Spencer Panchik was at the last tactical games event. Man, he has been all over the place from everything he's been competing in, with CrossFit to, showing up to a regional event. And he told me he hadn't been really shooting that often, so he was going to do his best. But it's really fun just to see kind of the hybrid of those two sports and some of the athletes crossing over. Have you seen Lost Stallwood's post recently? No. But thanks, Jenny. Now I'm gonna look. Is it her most recent one? Okay. When was this? 8 hours ago, half marathon, hybrid athlete, Hypercon games. I don't know what that is. Am I reading that right? Hypercon? Yeah. Half marathon trail run. Oh, I was in a world of hurt and my rugby mindset was definitely showing. Well, I'm a lame dad doing dad things. Once they get a bit older, I may dabble. Okay. Yeah, good. Let us know, Jeremy. Is that the post that you're talking about, Jenny, though? Give me some deets around that. Just that she used to play rugby. I actually didn't know that. So maybe I'm gonna pick her brain a little. With rugby, it's honestly it's one of the coolest sports in the sense that it's super fast paced. In my opinion, it's kind of like a marriage of football and soccer. And I know sometimes people don't really love when you compare it to that, but just as somebody who's still learning a lot about the sport, but the one thing that is really hard is you can watch something happen in a match and think, okay, I understand why that happened. I understand the referee's call. And then something almost identical will happen again, and it's for a different reason. So there's a ton of rules. And oh, oh my God, Jeremy, you haven't seen the Hypercon games documentary? No. Do I live under a rock? Okay, now I'm going to YouTube. Is it on there? Hybricon games. I guess I know what I'm doing later tonight. Hybricon games. Oh, location revealed. They posted that 9 days ago. Yeah, I don't know about this. But oh yeah, there's a clip of Laws. I mean, it looks pretty cool. Hypercon Games documentary. It came out 1 month ago. Okay, I'm not that far behind, guys. Come on, come on. Been around. I know nothing about this. It's a premier championship for hybrid athletes hosted by Battle Bunker that tests competitors through a series of mental and physical challenges. The event spans multiple days and includes various competitions designed to assess strength, endurance, and mental resilience. Sounds similar to CrossFit. Obviously not. They don't have like barbells and that kind of stuff. But oh wait, I recognize a couple of these people. Huh. Okay. My evening is booked. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to light a candle and I'm going to watch this on my television. So yeah, I haven't seen it. I guess I will watch it now. So we will see. What did y'all think of I may have overreacted. Hunter McIntyre's thing. Oh, at High Rocks, is that what you're talking about? Getting um Team USA disqualified? That's that's not that. Are we crossing channels now? Who watched oh my god, now I'm blanking my mind. Who watched Rich, Angelo, and Fikowski? Jenny, I'm pretty sure you watched it. You I feel like you consume everything, so you can chime in here. But what did people think about it? I thought it was a really productive conversation. I thought it was cool to see people with obviously they were able to, have a conversation and have very different views or different like positions based on their own experience. And I thought it was just really interesting to listen to all of them because the clip that they put for Instagram, and I get it, like you want to put something that's gonna get people enticed to go watch it. And when they had the clip on Instagram, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be unhinged. Like, are people gonna fight in this? Are they gonna argue? And then it was actually very, very civil and just a good conversation. So if you guys haven't had a chance to watch it yet, I would recommend listening to the latest Froning podcast on Mayhem with again Rich Agree, productive. Yep. Rich, Angelo, and Fikowski. Fikowski's just touring all over. And then I saw Training Think Tank just released their Saturday Throwdown workout, and it was Travis versus Fikowski. So that was really fun to see. And yeah, just super entertaining. I feel like now that he's, quote unquote retired, he's actually busier than he was when he was competing. And I guess, busy is relative, and it's, how are you filling your time? Are you having 3 to 4 training sessions a day and that's super busy, or are you doing maybe one workout a day and traveling, having meetings, doing that kind of stuff? So, yeah. TTT with Brent as good also. Yeah, was good also. Yeah. Yeah, the folks at Training Think Tank are great. Yeah, Lydia Fish comes out of Training Think Tank, and she's going to the games. Oh man, I'm so happy for her. She's a really cool and interesting athlete for a lot of reasons. Um, but yeah, Training Think Tank. I haven't been to their new space since they moved. I went to their old space that I feel like when I spoke to Max, I think that they moved new locations right around the time of the games last year. So they've probably been at their new space for about a year now. But um even their old space was still really cool. They had a neat podcast studio, much more space in the location that they're at now, and logistically it probably makes a little bit more sense for the affiliate side of things, as well as their, open gym athletes. Actually, what's interesting, the more that I've been traveling and sticking with my fitness, because, we know Lauren's journey that the past couple of years has been really hard with me sticking with my nutrition and fitness on the road. And I feel like, obviously, in the past, I wouldn't even say full calendar year, but definitely in the past like 6 to 8 months, I finally have figured out a routine that works with me or works for me. And part of that has been finding gyms that offer open gym time. And I actually didn't realize how rare it is for a lot of gyms that, or affiliates, that they just either are only open during the class times. So, the coach goes in, opens the doors, people come in for class, maybe they coach 2 or 3 classes, and then they lock the doors and leave. And I would say at least the areas that I've gone to, it seems like that is the most common affiliate model, and finding a gym that stays open all day with coaches there in offices and allowing athletes or members to come in and utilize open gym is just not common. And I'm curious if that's something that has changed throughout the years, and maybe owners just realize like it wasn't uh, a financially smart move to keep the doors open. I mean, unless the coaches have a ton of personal training clients that are coming in throughout the day and maybe through lunchtime and those like weird hours that they wouldn't have class. But it has been very difficult to find gyms that can accommodate that. Um, what are we complaining about this week? Patrick's got to ask Caleb that. Yeah, what's the complaint of this week? Oh, so I guess, we're almost 20 minutes in. I'm going on a trip, y'all. I am flying to visit the farmer. I know. Shocking. Who am I? What's happening? What's going on? So that's happening. I'm going to rugby. When do I leave for rugby? I leave for rugby Saturday at like 10 a.m. I get to the rugby location, which is where am I even going? Minnesota, I think. Minnesota. I think they play at the Vikings. Actually, this is really cool. They play at isn't TCO Stadium? Isn't that where the Vikings practice, or they used to? It's right by the Minnesota Vikings Museum. It's funny because when I lived in Wisconsin, we were trained to despise the Vikings, but that's going to be pretty cool. So their match is at 2 p.m. on Sunday. I'll work that. And from that event, I will go and visit this man until Wednesday. So I'll get in, late Sunday night and stay through Wednesday. So yeah, we went from absolutely not trusting this man, thinking he was still on the dating apps, to talking about it on here, realizing that I'm the problem and maybe I should, be a little bit more open-minded. Patrick said to me, wouldn't fly to visit me in the UK. The UK is way further than where I'm flying. Way further. I'm not going to tell y'all where I'm flying because then you're going to start connecting dots and you're going to do your little investigative journalism here and you're going to figure out who it is. That's why I just call him the farmer. I don't even use his name. But Patrick, maybe next time. I'll be in the no, I won't be in the UK. I just saw Fit Fest is coming back. That's really cool. I love Fit Fest. Fit Fest is such a cool competition. I don't even know that we can call it a competition, like showcase. Because they have a lot of different things going on in there, but I am happy for Patrick's people out there that they have something exciting to go to. That's a jump and a skip. So that's what's new with me. We're not on the dating apps. We're just going to visit a man and get on a plane. And I'm not okay. So I'm also flying American. I said I would never fly American again because the experience is so bad. Every time they lose my bags, they cancel my flights and don't even give me a food voucher for more than $5. And I really get anxiety every time I get on an American flight because I feel like it's just, I got the negative mindset right going into it because I know it's just going to be brutal and I'm going to deal with some BS. But there was no United flight that was going to fly in there at, a decent time and without traveling me like 9 hours just to get somewhere that's absolutely not 9 hours, even if I drove. Trigger Trek. What up, Brad? Do I need to get Star and have a chat? Do you need an adult? About what specifically? What do we need the adult about? Because I'm not the adult in the room. I need more details about that. What do you mean? Brad is great. Brad and Star basically dressed up like me at a tactical games event. Had a blonde wig, had dogs. Actually, okay. Hold on, let me move my camera real quick. Saber down for the count and next to 2 stuffed animal Samoyeds. Those are the ones that you and Star got me, Brad. Saber likes to nap with, I call him his babies. He just like, Saber is great with stuffed animals because he doesn't destroy them. He just like hangs on to them and sometimes falls asleep like with them in his mouth. Where Miko, she's a little terrorist and just rips them apart and is pretty ruthless. So we'll see. But don't worry, y'all. I have less than 5 people on my hand that I share my location with. So if I go missing, there's a couple people that are going to know, we got to protect ourselves out there because you never know what's going to happen. And the moment that you don't think of those things, that's when somebody ends up on a 48-hour episode. And we're not doing that, or 60 minutes, any of those shows. So we'll see. We're going to learn a lot when we get home from that trip. So this time next week on Thursday, I'm probably going to have a ton to update you guys on. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Where is it going to go? There's so much up in the air. We're going to have to see. So okay, here, I'm going to turn the conversation back to y'all in the chat. What are the things that I need to find? Tell me about traveling with your weapons. Oh, like for tactical games when I fly with a pistol, Jenny? Or do you mean traveling with the stabby? Which one? Is that process easy checking them on flights? Oh, okay. Yeah. So you are talking about the guns. So It depends. Hold on, let me get into a comfortable position here. It depends on the airport. Again, I live in upstate New York, so I thought it was going to be a headache, and I already mentally and emotionally prepared myself for it to kind of be a shit show. But it actually was super easy. So a couple of things that you want to make sure that you do is you need a hard case that is going to have areas that you can put a lock in. And the ruling is, if for instance your hard case has 8 locks or 8 places where you can put locks, you need to have a lock in every single one. You can't just, do 4 of them. You have to make sure that if there's a hole for a lock goes in there. Second thing is making sure they are the locks that have the little, it's like a red logo that lets them know it's TSA approved. So in case of an emergency, they could use their lock to open your case. But I'm pretty sure that this is a law from everyone I've spoken with. They legally, like TSA legally cannot open your gun case unless you are present. So for example, if I were to show up at the airport, I go to the counter of, I'm flying United, so I go up to the United counter. I let them know, hey, I'm flying with a firearm. Then they give you a piece of paper that you fill out. You open the gun case, you put that paper in the gun case, they look at it, they make sure that there's no crazy things in there. Um, and I think that when you travel with ammo, they put that in a separate box. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I'm pretty sure you can't have ammo in the case of the actual gun and magazines. I had no reason for that comment, just miss ya. Aw. Love you too, Brad. um And so then it's pretty much as easy as that. Wow. I feel like I was about to say something with something. Yeah, so you have the hard lock, Oh yeah, so okay. So then you give them the case. Once you fill out the paperwork, you close it, you lock it, and then they send it through. Then I go through security. I could then get a phone call from the airport saying TSA needs you to come and open your gun case. And I've heard this happen to a couple people, and that's why you want to show up to the airport, 3 hours beforehand. I hear that Vegas is if you're flying in or out of Vegas or flying out of Vegas, their TSA with traveling with guns is the biggest nightmare from everything I've heard. People have missed flights because TSA has called them to open gun cases. I don't know if they just, check them more frequently, do randomized checking or something like that. But I've heard that that airport is a little wonky. The only thing that I wouldn't even say it was an issue, but was a little bit confusing, every airport that I traveled into, I picked up my pistol at a different location. So one time it came out with my suitcase. Okay. Another time it went to lost and found. Another time it went into, since I flew United, it went into their little tiny room that's over by baggage claim. So the best option, if you have this option, check a bag, a suitcase, and use a suitcase that's a little bit bigger that, isn't going to be overweight. And you then have room to put that hard case with your pistol inside your suitcase. And also, that's a great way that, when you go and pick up your suitcase from baggage claim, it can look like, if people know what a gun case looks like, and they're Pelican cases, so you could argue that media use this stuff for cameras and stuff, but it just makes it a little bit more secure and nobody gets suspicious and could potentially steal your gun or something like that. Obviously with rifle it's going to be way different because you can't get a rifle case into a normal suitcase. I suppose I was going to say golf bags, but I think most of those are soft. I do know somebody though that competes in tactical games that puts his rifle into a guitar case, and I thought, oh, that's a pretty good idea. Then nobody really knows what you're traveling with. Obviously, TSA because you claim it and stuff. But truly, it really wasn't that complicated. It wasn't that hard. I would say just give yourself enough time and make sure you have the right locks and right case, and you should be good to go. Where are you going? Where are you traveling? Are you, like, signing up for a tactical games event? Tell me all the things. What is happening? I travel with 2 guns all the time. They're uncheckable, and I refer to them as Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary. They're uncheckable? What do you mean? Oh, are you talking about your biceps? Jeremy with the jokes today. So many jokes. Yeah, but good luck with that. Like I said, I thought it was gonna be way more complicated than it actually was. I don't yet have my own rifle. Anytime I shoot rifle, I just borrow a friend's. Um, and when I was in Texas, I just competed with one of the owners' like spare rifles because the way that you need them for tactical games is going to be different than the way I can legally have one in the state of New York because of the way that you have your magazines. Just curious, my ex-husband always handled that stuff and I would be managing the children. Yeah, that's fair. Well, now you know. Now you can do it yourself and manage the children. You get to do it all now, right? Uh, but yeah, and also for anybody who is potentially competing in tactical games. I live in New York. Our magazines can only hold 10 rounds per mag. With tactical games, it is an advantage for certain stages to have magazines where you can load, like 30 rounds. So, what I'll do is when I get to the location, like when I got to Texas, I would then just pick up magazines that would hold more rounds in them. And then I just leave those magazines with friends in Texas so that I have them there. So, a couple workarounds depending on the state that you live in. It can be, more complicated or less complicated. Jenny, for you, since you live in Texas, it should be pretty easy. Um, and yeah, anywhere that you were going with guns, you you probably wouldn't need to worry about the magazines or anything like that. Mostly just people that live, in New York, California, states like that. So, fun times. Fun times, but we make it work. It's funny because I actually didn't realize that I would need magazines that held more than 10 rounds until I got to Texas. And then I was talking to Nick Thayer, one of the owners of Tactical Games. He goes, "All you have is 10 rounds? Like, you're at a way big disadvantage." I'm like, "Dude, you know where I live. Like, what do you want from me? Hook me up. Let me have some of the fun ones." But I get it. We do our best. I don't know the next time that I'm gonna compete in tactical games. I actually am looking for a CrossFit event that I might compete in. When is it supposed to be? I'm trying to convince them to do a Halloween one. That competition that I did in a team of 4 a couple months ago, with my friends, they're gonna host another one, and I really would like them to do it, um, as like a Halloween themed one. So we'll see. I just love competing. It's one of those things that every time I do it, I wanna do it more, but then I realize you don't get paid to be an athlete, you get paid to do media, so finding the balance is hard. For example, when I competed in Texas, I have this vlog series that I'm doing that episodes are still coming out. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, I can totally compete and I can shoot this vlog and then edit them and it's going to be great. And it is great. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. But I'm also realizing, oh my God, I bit off a lot more than I can chew. And it's taking me so long to edit these videos because most of the videos I wanted to edit while I was on the airplane, but my computer has so little room right now. Yeah, I gotta upgrade or get like a bigger external hard drive. So when I get on the plane, it has trouble loading the media and loading the clips. So the other day I was flying home from Idaho, and for the 3.5 hour plane ride, I just watched my clips not load. It said media offline, and that was really frustrating. So, media problems. At some point, I'll find somebody who I trust and I'll hire them to edit the videos, but until then, I'm gonna be cheap and I'm gonna do it myself, and I'll just carve out time and get them going. The next one that I'm about to post, though, I think I'm gonna post this one on Monday since we had one go out yesterday and then we have this live show today. It is the run one, which has some really funny audio. So I'm excited for you guys to see that one. So that's a lot of fun. But, you know, what else is down the pipeline? What else are people up to? Anybody have fun 4th of July plans? Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Okay, Jeremy. What elephant? I feel like there's more than one, but you let me know. We'll talk about the elephant. We'll talk about 4th of July plans. You guys know how this show works. The rundown is where y'all take it. I tee up with a few things. I update you on what's going on, and then we go from there. Someone said Wooly and Sean Woodland are doing a podcast or show. Yeah, that's actually true. Garrett, I'm home alone unsupervised. Oh no. What are you going to get into? Tell us all the things. Jenny, I'm curious who you heard that from. I found out yesterday. Well, I found out through Sean. Sean told Tommy and I. They're doing, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the Morning Chalk Up YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, from what I understand, the two of them are going to interview people in the CrossFit space. Sean didn't really expand like past that if they had anybody like set up or anything, but yeah, Sean and John Woolley have wanted to do some things together for a while and things just didn't link up. So yeah, it's not going to really be podcasty style from my understanding. I mean, it's still a podcast, but I guess it's just that's dangerous AF. I guess it's just interview style, but I don't know if I saw when it's launching. I did see John Woolley post the graphics and the name of the show, not for time, but that's all I saw. I can remember honestly, it was in a DM. I think it's so funny to me though when people find out things, and maybe like I just live under a rock a lot of the time. Sometimes it's better under the rock, and then I just come out of it for the things that really like impact my life. But I'm just like, oh my God, I just found out about this. Where are people learning about this? And maybe it was more public knowledge than I knew, but who knows? Talking about hairstyles. What? Who's talking about hairstyles? Did we mention hairstyles? Patrick, why does it look like I'm slouching? I swear I'm not. Seriously, the house is so quiet. So what are you going to do for your night? Yeah, Jenny, give me your source. Jeremy, what's the elephant in the room? What do you want to talk about? Tell me what you DM'd me about earlier today. I'm happy to talk about that. I feel it was someone random, like they must have said it somewhere publicly. Jan Clark, welcome. You're only 38 minutes late, but welcome. Good to have you here. Yeah, maybe. I mean, John also talks to a lot of people, so it's very possible that, he was chatting with somebody about it. But yeah, if that's something that, the two of them want to do, go for it. Jeremy's coming over, Garrett. Dunk on folks' butt. I don't even know what that means. Sean and the meme guy talking about hairstyles. Oh, because they both bald. Jan. Coming in swinging. Just on your bullshit today. We love to see it. What Jan said. That's not true. Jeremy, just ask your question. I don't know why you're being so shy right now. You're normally not a shy man. Oh, dear Lord. Yep, we're already unhinged. Honestly, like this has been pretty mild up until this moment. Oh, he posted it on his story. Did he tag Sean? Maybe because I totally saw him put it on his story. And maybe I totally could have been, like, mindlessly scrolling. You know when you do that also? You know what I gotta get better at? You know when you're scrolling and you see a picture, but you don't read the caption and you double tap? I have on a couple different occasions needed to go back and untap things because 'cause I'm like, "Wait, wait, wait. Now I'm reading the caption. I didn't mean to double tap that." Like, still, like, "Yeah, great job. I'm supporting you," but, like, maybe that's not something I wanted to have a double tap on. Wow, Jan and Jeremy sound like you guys have a very interesting relationship. I was talking about your post this morning. We wanna know more. Okay, yeah, Jeremy, I'm happy to talk about my post this morning. I put a post out that I have a basal cell carcinoma. It's a type of skin cancer. It is the most common type of skin cancer. And the good thing is, it's also the most treatable, curable type of skin cancer. So, essentially, from everything that I read on the internet, this type of cancer is from sun damage from 10 to 20 years ago, which based on my track record as a child, it makes a lot of sense because I used to fake and bake. I was a regular at Hawaiian Holiday and I would go to tanning beds all the time. Looking back at pictures, I remember being upset because in high school, a group of boys were making fun of me and they called me an Oompa Loompa. I was a little chubby before I hit my growth spurt, and I was also orange, so they called me an Oompa Loompa. And looking back at those pictures, they really weren't that far off. And while it stung in the moment, there was some truth to that, and I'll own that. So yeah. Will your new boy toy pass the tactical games crew test? Brad asks. If he doesn't, he's out. I don't know what to tell you, so we'll have to find out. Well, let's first see if he passes my test when I go to visit. Noelle, I'm glad you made it. I go to tanning bed. Should I stop? Yeah, you absolutely should stop. They say that some of them are healthier now, but I don't think any of that's really healthy. I'm not gonna. Oh, Saber, I gotta pull some of your hair out. He's got, when dogs like blow their coats, he's got like some loose stragglers. Squirrel. But I'm not gonna stop going outside. I'm not gonna stop being in the sun. But what I will do is I will just be more cautious about putting on sunscreen. And while I have been really good over the past, 3 to 5 years putting on sunscreen, it's reapplying or making sure that I don't miss a spot. Like a post I put out, I think literally the day before I got the call that I had this type of skin cancer. My back was completely fried because I went to spray it and the wind sprayed away and I missed it. So just being more cautious and mindful of those things um, is something that I'm going to pay attention to. I will be singing the Oompa Loompa song the rest of the day. Yeah, maybe that's my theme song now. Who knows? It's fine. I don't look like an Oompa Loompa anymore. Like I hit my growth spurt. This is my natural skin and I lost some LVs. So it doesn't work anymore to call me that. But it's fine. You know, people are mean. It is what it is. Jeremy sent me a photo. Oh, I already read that. Sorry, I'm just scrolling to make sure that Lauren, I'm gonna be pissed if you have a boyfriend now and we can't do our blind date show. Jan, when is that show starting? Like, time is ticking. Time is ticking. I am happy to do the show, but who knows? You could be running out of time. It's up in the air. Like I said, we're going to learn a lot at this time next week. We'll have an update show on how the trip went. So I guess we got to do our blind date show tomorrow and see where that goes. So let me know. Send me a calendar invite. Oh, there's nothing better. One of my friends, Tracy, her and I try to have a FaceTime date every month. And there's nothing more satisfying. This is one of my like love languages is when somebody is like, "Hey, are you free at this time, this day, whatever?" And then they just send you a Google Meets calendar invite. It's the little things for me, you know? If you wear sunscreen, you will go far. Do, Patty, do. Was that supposed to be a quote or something? I tried to scream it without blowing out your eardrums, but I don't know what that was. We have a call in line now. Are you doing a live show and then you're also watching my live show commenting? Is this inception of the live shows? What do you mean, Jan? What do you mean? What do you mean? Tell me more. Y'all are wild. But who knows? Apparently none of you guys are my friends. Apparently we can't have more than one friend. All the people in the chat, you're just somebody else's friends and none of you should even be here. Wild. Wild. It reminds me of high school when you'd be best friends with somebody and then they would get like another friend and then the original best friend gets mad because they want you all to themselves. What a strange world. It's the Oompa Loompa song. Is oh, I see what you did. Okay, okay, maybe it is. No, I mean, we can have it set up so we can now facilitate a blind date show. Okay, so we're getting it started now. Good. I'll message you off air. I don't want Jeremy to get jealous. I'm talking to other women. Okay, deal. Let me know. We'll set it up. We'll get it rolling and we'll have some fun. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Blind date show. Has anybody watched Love is Blind? Oh my god, what a train wreck. Oh, or Love Island. Oh my god, what a dumpster fire. I do wonder when people go on those really any reality TV shows, what is the screening process for people that are mentally stable? I feel like that's something that, like, all jokes aside, they should probably take seriously because sometimes, and I get it, it's entertainment, it's for TV, and people wouldn't watch it unless people were unhinged. I totally get that. But at what part are we as humans thinking to ourselves, oh my God, I'm monetizing off of people like becoming unhinged and having serious mental health problems? Like, it's when you break it down past the entertainment value, it really is quite sad. Love Island is a train wreck. Yeah, Carrot, I'm right there with you. It's like, dear Lord, isn't social media just a reality TV show for everyone? Jenny, wow. Wow. You ain't wrong. And I would say maybe not the posts, but the comment sections. That part is reality TV in a lot of ways. I would say, like, sometimes in the post because, like I was talking about earlier, with the podcast with Fakowski, Angelo, and Froning, like, what gets clipped for social media is going to be the most, like, gasp part because you want people to go consume the rest of the content. But sometimes, I mean, a lot of those consumers, they're not ones that are going to be mindful enough to then go watch the full video or watch the full, whatever. So then they just immediately go to the comment section and everybody just fights and argues with each other. So yeah, the comment sections and even like Reddit, I know we've talked about that before, is like a dumpster fire of people just yelling and screaming at each other behind their keyboards. Oh, Brad says, "Sign me up. I'd like Edward Scissorhands trying to screw in a light bulb with my dating life." Yeah, Brad, we've compared notes about our dating lives. The dating apps they're awful. They're awful. The clientele out there is just like it's very rare to just find somebody normal. Just the bare minimum. The bare minimum in a lot of ways rarely exists. And I think it's just because of, what the world has evolved into what we think normal dating is like. And for a while, people would say, "Oh, it's probably just where you live." And for a while, I also thought that. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in a smaller area. It could be that." And I do know a lot of people that got married young or met their high school sweetheart or their college sweetheart and then never dated after that. So a lot of people, were off the market really early. But then this was probably when I first started traveling a lot for work. I would on dating apps switch my location to the places I would go to just to see, what types of people are here. I'd have some conversations with them, but never at a work event have I ever actually gone on a date with somebody else. There would be absolutely no time. And in my head, I thought, and maybe this was, well, not maybe, this absolutely was naive of me. I thought, you know, it's nowadays it's so easy to travel to locations. Like, you don't need to be the next door neighbor to the person that you're with. Like, I'm okay getting on a plane to go visit somebody and figuring out, like, oh, is there synergy here, compatibility? Is this something that we would want to explore? But when I would talk to those couple of people, nobody is interested in waiting longer than, well, you got some of the like pen pals on dating apps that will never ask you on a date, but other ones, I say, yeah, I'm in town for a couple days, but I'm here for work. I'm leaving, but if you want to meet in real life, like, let's figure something out. And then they just, wouldn't be down for that. I'm single for life and I don't give a fuck. Jeremy, what happened to that girlfriend that you had? Jenny, all of the media around CrossFit really is a reality TV series. That is how I have always thought of it. Behind the scenes is reality TV. Yeah, the behind the scenes stuff is totally reality TV. I would say the interesting thing is, and at least from my experience in other media areas, while you have like the reality TV in the sense with like the training camps or the athletes or the teams or the competitors, I've never experienced it with other media outlets. I would say, at least for me, that's something that I haven't been used to. For example, when I used to work in television, the way that a newsroom is, if you've never been in one, is you have everybody working and at their computers, and then you have all of the monitors and you have your competitors on the screens, so that at the start of the 5 o'clock news, you see what everybody's rundowns are. You see what their top stories are. Did you miss a top story? Is breaking news happening? And you need to send somebody there immediately. And, we would watch, our competitor was Channel 9. And we're like, oh, like they have a typo in that headline, or, oh, like, why did they cover that story? Or, oh, whatever we were thinking. But we would just think it. We wouldn't say it and put it out on blast. And guess what? The next day we would do it and we would just try to do it better. That is what the culture was, that nobody would outwardly make fun, or even if you want to go as far as say like bully the competitors, you would just try to do a better job than them instead of openly attacking them, if that makes sense. So I think it's really unique, maybe not to all sports, but maybe it's more smaller sports where the media culture is more of this like Wild West in a lot of ways. Like, even when I'm thinking of a media pass, I got approved for a media pass, but I have no idea what that means. Where are we going to be sitting? What kind of access do we have? Is there a way to apply for an enhanced access where I can have access to actually talk to the athletes? And I've asked these questions and haven't gotten a response. So I do think that it is rare for the media channels to be part of the reality TV show. Of course, you see TV shows like I think, was it either the morning show or the newsroom? They kind of show that and how they don't like their competitors. And of course, like Anchorman, when the famous scene where everybody shows up to fight each other and they're like, okay, everything below the waist, free game, but save the face, the moneymaker. But in reality, like, the amount of times that I would show up to breaking news or a house fire, and we would go hang out with the other reporters that were also there, because you see them all the time at the same stories. And yeah, everybody was cordial. Even if you didn't like how they reported on a story, everybody was still cool. So I don't know. That was a long rant, but I don't know if that actually answered anything. Dating before the internet, you had to have skill. Yeah, you had to actually know how to talk to people. What a concept, Garrett. Garrett knows what she's talking about. Yeah. Or like back in the old days when you had to pick up a phone and call someone. Oh my God. I'll never forget, it was probably it was definitely 6th grade, and using the landline to call my first boyfriend, Ryan Wiest. And I would call him, after my parents would go to bed because, of course, I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend. So we would like sneak on the phone and stuff. Uh, CNN and Fox openly talk shit on air. Yeah, but that's not a forever thing. That's a more recent thing. Like that wasn't the culture at large. You would have some anchors and, TV personalities that would do that, but I would not say that that was the norm. And I think that it's in a lot of ways becoming the norm because everybody just keeps doing it and there's no like accountability or repercussions for doing it, and it gets a lot of views because right now the culture of what gets views are people that disagree with each other. And I get it. That's the stuff that adds to shock value. We talk about it all the time. Um Jenny says it's the 90s to 2000s era. Sure. And I am sure that you're right, but it's so common now that back in the 90s and early 2000s, it was almost like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that, like, they're saying this stuff about each other." Where now nobody really bats an eye. They're like, "Oh, yeah, it's just another day, business as usual." And I think it's just interesting that that type of culture has evolved to be the norm. You could mean asking a girl what her round count is and her course of fire. Oh, for shooting is not a pickup line. No, I think that could be a pretty good pickup line, Brad. I would hope that nobody would ask me that because it would be bad, and I think that then I would lose out on the date. Oh, 2020, it got crazy. Yeah. Yeah. 2020, like, honestly, I think the pandemic was the worst thing for humankind because people got mean. Like, in 2020, everybody just became unhinged. Unhinged. And sure, people have always disagreed since the beginning of time, but I do think that that's really when people started drawing lines in the sand and not being open-minded to having conversations with people that they have different views from. And it's sad. And that's why, again, going back to the Rich Froning podcast, why I was so tickled pink just listening to these three men have a conversation where they clearly disagree on some big ticket items, but I don't think anybody left the conversation feeling like, hey, I want to like take your firstborn child, which is sometimes what you see on the internet. It's just like, oh my God, would you take a seat, like take a breath, relax, everything's going to be okay. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't cut out for this world anymore. If I had not a million, because yeah, $1 million would be nice, but it really won't go that far when you think of how old people are living to. If I had a billion with a B, dollars, I would absolutely buy an island somewhere, and I would have a select group of people out there, and we would live off the land. We would have dogs, we'd have horses, we'd have the beach. We're gonna wear sunscreen because sun cancer. We'd have a gym, we'd have guns, just the little things. It would be so much fun. So if y'all ever see me, no, you wouldn't see me because maybe I wouldn't even allow internet on the island. Who knows? Said as a former government employee. Oh, government overreached, silent majority got louder. Yeah, that could be right as well, Jeremy. Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts around all of that. I was so happy to get out of local television. Hey, Lauren, this is Kong, and we met at Mountain Home Tactical Games event. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to Live with Laur, where things get wild and unhinged every now and then. But we have a good time. It's all in good fun. Yeah, working in local TV in 2020 through 2021 was, God, I feel like I aged so many years in that 1 year and a half. It was just brutal. And I know other people had it worse, people who worked in healthcare specifically, but man, that was when I think back to that time, and granted that's what year is it? 2025? It's been 5 years, so that is a decent amount of time, but it feels like 15 years ago. Like things that happened before that seem closer in time than that. And I think part of it is my body's way of defending itself that I just black out certain things. If only everyone just said how they really felt publicly instead of saying behind the curtain. Yeah, I do also think that that's hard because I'm trying to think. Would that be better if everybody was just honest and said how they felt? I think to an extent, yeah. But okay, so here's the thing. I much rather if somebody doesn't like me, and again, this is just the most basic example. If somebody doesn't like me, don't pretend like you like me. You don't need to. Like you can openly dislike me and not say hello and give me the cold shoulder. That's fine. What's going to piss me off is if you don't like me and then you come up to me, "Hey, how's it going? How have you been? How are the dogs? How's travel? How's your love life?" No, that's annoying. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm going to be okay if you don't like me because odds are maybe I don't like you too. But the fakeness, I do not like that. But with the I wish people said things publicly instead of behind the curtain. Yes, on a surface level, Jenny, I agree with you on that. I would say though, sometimes we don't need to be an asshole about things. Sometimes, you can, and I'm not saying you, I'm you as in people, you can get your point across and say how you feel without trying to dig into people. And I do think that and maybe it's not even a majority because the loudest people are the ones that you remember, but I think that sometimes when people express their feelings or opinions on things, they're intentionally trying to cut into somebody and trying to find the thing that again is the most going to grab the most attention or shock value or just hurt the person instead of just like, yeah, I don't agree with this because of X, Y, and Z. And I don't like that. Or I don't like that person. And that's okay. We're not supposed to like everyone. But I think saying like, they're a freaking cocksucker and I'm gonna take their firstborn and like they smell and they're ugly and all of those things, like you don't need to. There's no reason for it. So I don't know. I do think that honesty is the best policy, but also like just trying to be a decent human is also important. I still managed 2 nursing homes during COVID. Oh my God, Jan. That must have been really tough. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Yeah, hi Nico. My aunt was working in a nursing home that a ton of people died. And I felt bad because I was a reporter that had to keep covering that story. Um, and, just not fun. Choose a weird moment to join. CrossFat. Welcome. Welcome. You chose a weird moment to join. That's because we're basically at the end of the show. Mid-sentence here. I don't know what sentence you joined in on, but I think it was in one of my little tangents. Just getting unhinged. Oh, yes. Okay, I was talking earlier about gyms that don't offer CrossFit affiliates that don't offer open gym, and this one does. Let's go. I spit out my water hearing cocksucker. Yeah, I mean, got the point across. Sometimes you just gotta add the shock value. Now I'm doing that. Dear Lord. Dear Lordy Lordy. All right, guys. This has been fun as always. Thank you all for tuning in. And something about eating babies. Oh, yeah, that's freaking weird. Thank you guys as always for all of your support. What would help support even more is if you just like and subscribe to the channel. It, helps the channel grow. helps us keep doing this stuff and having a good time, and maybe more people will find this chat and add to our fun little weekly, just about weekly conversations that we have on Thursdays. Next week we will have a lot to talk about, So 5:30 p.m. next Thursday. What is the date? Are we in July? Or I think it's the day before the 4th of July. Oh yeah. We're gonna have a little pre-4th of July party. Wear your best red, white, and blue. Don't bring the fireworks. I'll bring the fireworks. Bye, guys.